Okay, so I came across this dude talking about toxic masculinity, and he was really upset and ignorant. And so I went to the article he was actually referencing, and I said, this is up my alley. Let me talk about it with my people, my subbies. So let's go ahead. It is an article that was written by LWOS, lastwordsports.com, March 28th, by James Stainings. The title says WWE's The Bloodline storyline displays toxic masculinity. So I just want everybody to understand a man wrote this. Let's get it. Acknowledge me. Recently, a meme has been making its way around social media in a tribalistic war between WWE and AEW. It's the usual comparison between top WWE and AEW stars. It displays the creator's view of why their brand is better than yours. On top, Roman Reigns poses with his red Ula Fala necklace and his tongue poking out, arms back and open as if inviting a challenge. Hey, let me tell you something. Ah! I can already see that. Excuse me. Sorry. Below him is Will Ospreay, a man called by some of the greatest wrestlers in the world. Ospreay, pursing his lips together, looks taken aback, having second thoughts. It implies Roman is the alpha. It's clear which side of the culture war the creator is backing before the captions. Ospreay is simple because the creator's perception is AEW just does wrestling. Character is English and wrestles well. Roman's caption is two long, complex sentences. The implication is WWE creates characters and stories. Character, delusional, tyrannical, insecure, egomaniacal, family man that desperately needs validation from everyone. The reason he is this way is because of post-betrayal, Seth Rollins, and rejection from the fans. Roman goes out his way to push the family is everything mantra, yet is beyond hypocritical because he uses and abuses his family members whenever he can. This is not an article where WWE versus AEW Discord will be compared. It is about how a large part of the success of Roman Reigns' tribal chief character and bloodline story arc has been built on WWE's most recent exploitation of toxic masculinity. Next byline. Toxic masculinity defined, be a man. Toxic masculinity is the concept that men must conform to old-fashioned, imperfect, and harmful ideals of manliness. Don't cry. Don't show emotion because it's weakness. Have no feelings. Don't complain if you're hurt. Suck it up and be a man. Be always a strong man. Display power and control always. To do otherwise is weak. There are do's as well as don'ts. Men must live up to extreme cultural identities of masculinity. Be strong and decisive. Display power and control always. Women, children, and men viewed as betas are subordinate. Men should have authority over them. You must be athletic and muscular body type. It is acceptable for men to use violence. You must be the best. You must be masculine in everything you do. Demand respect. And if they do not have it, use their power to attain it. These standards are impossible to achieve, misguided, and cause mental, emotional, and physical harm. The pressure to live up to rigid and unrealistic expectations of manhood kills men. And also stops you from getting pussy. So if that's what you think, you gonna get some coochie, act like a fucking idiot like that and see how much coochie you gonna get. Family members, directly and indirectly, are exposed to suffering due to men pursuing and forcing these toxic traits. As king of his castle and chief of his tribe, men can inadvertently and intentionally hurt the ones closest. On purpose, accidentally, or due to Paul Heyman's wordsmithery, WWE is exploring this theme in Reigns' manipulation of the Anoa'i family. Oh my God, let me find out they're doing a character study. We're doing a character study, folks. I'm so excited. The head of the household best knows best. The stereotype of toxic male patriarch is domineering and authoritative, a bully who controls loved ones through physical, verbal, or mental abuse. He says jump and they reply how high. One man is responsible, one man makes the decision. But what drives a man to this level of control? Not having enough control. In the storyline, Rain has experienced betrayal from teammates and fans. It's fed insecurity because Reigns was not accepted as the man by fans like they were supposed to. So when Reigns returned to win the Universal Championship and Payback in 2020 during the pandemic, things had to be different. Reigns' character became all about family because family, as we're told since birth, is what is most important. You can choose your friends, but not your family. In feuding with his cousin Jay, Reigns' character used brute strength to assert dominance. Their Hell in a Cell match, which elicited an emotional response from a lot of people besides me, in 2020 was one of the best matches, by the way. Was the highest stakes of any match in WWE history. The family became justification to build a shield around insecurity, to protect fragile ego who wanted from his family, the fans, every other man, the same thing. Acknowledgement. 9 months ago, Reigns, Wiseman, and future WWE Hall of Famer, well, now Hall of Famer, Paul Heyman, outlined the Bloodline story arc. On the podcast of legendary producer Rick Rubin, Heyman preaches the gospel of wrestling theology from discussing wrestling and Brock Reigns and Paul Heyman goes on and says, Roman has said, well, you know what I want from Jay. I don't want his love. I have that. I don't want his admiration. I don't even want his obedience. I'll take that from him. You know what I need? I need the head of the table. I am the tribal chief. I need him to acknowledge me. And the moment he said it, we all got chills because he knew this was bigger than this moment. This is the declarative statement. This is the definition of the character. What does the character want? What does the tribal chief need? What does the head of the table seek? Acknowledgement. And it's emotional. Excellent. The defining catchphrase. After this declaration, Heyman makes a point of telling Rubin how no other WWE catchphrase made a bigger impact. The most revealing and honest one that just isn't just bravado. If anything, the catchphrase from these previous wrestling icons are more alpha male and traditionally masculine. Hulkamania will run wild. It's promising an unstoppable force of nature. That's the bottom line. There's no argument. That's what I said. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Sounds rhetorical, but it's another promise the man is going to always deliver. These catchphrases show authority, control, and confidence. And that what the man says goes. Yet Reigns' catchphrase, Heyman suggests, is different. Let's see it. And I quote, Heyman says, he's needy. He needs you to acknowledge him. Please acknowledge me. I'm not here for love. I'm not here for your affirmation. I'm here for you to chant my name. I just need you. It's unbelievable. It puts the power in the audience to react any way they want. Any way they want to boo me, boo me. You want to cheer me, cheer me. There's no command. It's a plea from a man who doesn't beg, from a man who rules, from a man who commands the island of relevancy. Please acknowledge me. Please, just acknowledge me. That's all I need. I just don't want it. I need it from you. Woo! The paradox is this assertion of power comes from feeling weak. The need to control comes from feeling out of control. Insecurity, fear, and powerlessness means what is the alpha male's control must be controlled. Their family and possessions are his property and all will serve his will. Yet Roman before 2020, weak and powerless? Was he? Some kind of inferior man? Like some men who think they're weak and powerless and who buy into the promise of toxic masculinity? No, he wasn't. It's a delusion. Fans booed because they were fed up with Roman must look strong. Roman was their apparent, the poster boy. They, didn't want this because the character was flimsy. Yet Roman Reigns headlined 5 WrestleManias before becoming the Tribal Chief, far from weak in most people's eyes. The character is deluded and can't see the privilege gifted to him because there is this one thing he couldn't have, one thing he could not control. So to be the best, Reigns manufactures a new reality for himself and family. Reigns' character insulated his ego using his family's protection. This kind of fragility is at the core of toxic masculinity. Yet, despite Heyman's assertions, it's something WWE has shown before. During the 2000s, Triple H's reign of terror as World Heavyweight Champion drew strong criticism from fans, other wrestlers, and wrestling experts then and in subsequent years, particularly because in long, extensive promos and longer matches, Hunter was positioned as the best despite fans feeling onwards. In the documentary Wrestling Isn't Wrestling breaks down the character's history, highlighting the crossover between the character of the game overlapping Triple H's promotion to power backstage. Triple H himself approved, tweeting, "Landed, this guy gets it." Putting the debate aside, the character dripped toxic masculinity. Like Reigns, Triple H built a stable, not for the first time, to protect himself with Evolution. Both went to desperate lengths to retain the championship. Both characters informed fans to the point of repetition and parody that they were the best and accepted. So, is the bloodline groundbreaking? To an extent, yes. It's groundbreaking because Roman's character storyline explored toxic masculinity within the family unit. No. See the dysfunctional family saga of McMahon's on screen. We already seen that. It's groundbreaking because despite an invisible camera backstage, WWE employed layers of subtlety. Character work associated with Hollywood and prestige TV rather than SmackDown has displayed, particularly during Sami Zayn's arc. Zayn's emotive scenes backstage helped cement Sami more as a babyface than his in-ring work. The other key players all played their part as well. Credit is due. WWE for a time found a way to fill in a part like The Sopranos, like Breaking Ground, Goodfellas. At points, the storyline has been, and perhaps is for some, spellbinding. Yet just like those shows and films, it presents toxic masculinity as dangerous, but never outright denies calling it out as poisonous. The end result. Post SummerSlam, Heyman said the storyline was only at the bottom of the third innings. It felt like since this point everything has been a holding pattern. The Bloodline storyline has gone on longer than a Shakespearean play without a constant threat of downfall. Cody Rhodes might be their heir apparent again. But even in beating Reigns, the Tribal Chief's tyranny has amassed an island of eternal relevancy. A milestone of 1,304 days at the time of the writing. Finally, fan acceptance and investment will live as the storyline that brought the creative renaissance to the WWE. Everything the character wanted, the damage will be done. Cody might rebuild on ruins, but Roman got his way. The follow-up will likely see Bloodline continue with The Rock and Reigns clashing. Not a huge tragic fall on the scope of Breaking Bad or Gangsters and Goodfellas. Toxic masculinity wins. Booking wise, the babyfaces have looked weak in not being prepared for the interference that cost them their chances. Good guys, the newer, more modern masculine figures of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, had a WrestleMania moment but fallen down the card before the unbeatable villain. The WWE authority figures have proven themselves enablers, allowing alpha male behavior to hold them ransom. But then, this was a storyline created by an alpha male who reportedly had to control all aspects of creative. A man who could not stand being ill, let alone sneezing because he could not control it. They're talking about Vince McMahon. It's been continued by a man who will likewise portray a character who also benefits from toxic masculinity in a world where alpha males are still celebrated, dominant, and make the rules. That was fan-fucking-tastic. I could have came up with this on my own, but I think they really summed up a lot of Roman Reigns' behavior. As a social worker, as a clinical therapist, I work with kids between the ages of 12 and 17. I have met so many tribal chiefs and people's parents, it will blow your fucking mind. And when you I don't even know if I could even take you on a ride to explain what it's like talking to somebody with Roman Reigns, well, the tribal chief Roman Reigns' thought process. You can't. The way he beat down Jay, to the point where if Jay said something crazy, the audience was like, oh, I remember when I was at home watching it, and Jay wouldn't do what Roman told him to do, and Jay would have this look on his face like, oh my God. I'd be like, oh my God, he's about to get his ass whooped. And sure enough, Roman would come, beat up Jay, and continue to put his boot on his neck. It's so many movies like that. It was one movie where that was the same kind of premise. It was called Whiplash. It was a young up and coming drummer, and he wanted to get on this exclusive, big time school of arts, and the teacher for that school of arts was so fucking abusive. It was outrageous. Like, I was sitting there quaking. He had him beat them drums to his fingers and peeled off the blood, and the skin peeled off his hands. And even in the end, the boy still sought out the instructor's approval. I see this shit every day with these children who cannot get over the hump, looking for attention and approval. Copious amounts of validation. This was fantastic. If you made it this far, tell me what you think about the article. I read it as best as I could. I just thought it was great. We could talk about toxic masculinity in all different types of areas in WWE in the world. It exists, and the people who feel it, they feel it. We celebrate it. Even women play into it, and it hurts everybody. It just doesn't hurt men. It hurts everybody. Get into it. Tell me what you think in the comments later.